Someone needed a butcher.
Hello everyone, Kyubashi here with a little video on Pudge. This video is here to show a few tricks that might be able to improve your Pudge play, and yeah, that's exactly what I hope to do. So, few tips and tricks coming up. Let's start with the first one. So the first trick for Pudge is a rather simple one. Now if you haven't played Pudge a lot, this might come as a bit of a surprise, but it's called hook canceling. Now to an average or at mediocre Pudge player, this is hardly anything new, but I still want to stress how powerful this tactic is. So the idea behind hook canceling is that instead of just throwing out the hook like this, and of course I have WTF mode on, you will be cancelling it so it looks a little bit something like this. And you might wonder why exactly would you do that, because why not just throw it and hit it, you know, the first time? Why is that not better? Well, because you can trick opponents. So oftentimes if you played against other people, then because they're human beings, you know, they'll try to, it's kind of like a guessing game between you and who you're trying to hook. And oftentimes if he's running away and he sees this animation, it will look a little something like this. It looks something like this. He just immediately go to the side because he knows it's going to hook. And this is where hook canceling becomes really, really good. Because if Lion runs like here, like this, and you start doing this, I guarantee you that the Lion will start doing this stuff here. And what then happens is that you just keep going, and when he's busy trying to dodge the hook consistently, you'll go up close to him, and now I'm not level 2, but you'll start rotting, and all of a sudden you're point blank range. And what happens now? Now he practically can't dodge the hook anymore because he's slowed down from you. So I guarantee you that if you're not used to doing hook canceling with Pudge, try and do it and see exactly how much of an increased effect it has. It's super simple. All you have to do is press Q and S. Of course this is default settings, but Q and S, that's a hook cancel, and it's really, really strong, and it really mind games the hell out of opponents. So yeah, it's definitely a trick you should practice, and it can lead to a lot of good kills. So this next trick is also a fairly simple one, but I don't see almost any Pudges do it. It kind of is using a valuable resource, but if it means you can get a really good early game going, I definitely consider it worth it, and especially if no one uses the resources anyway. And I like to call this one early smoke ganking with Pudge. Now in order to show you exactly how powerful this is, I'll just quickly move here. So the idea behind the entire trick is actually fairly simple. Let me just put things correctly. The idea is that originally, especially a lot in this day and age with this meta going on right now, wards will be very present on mid, and because you usually don't have the income to like counter ward and then gank with Pudge, it can be hard to get a gank on mid especially. Well, one of the ways to actually remedy that, and even against very hard opponents, is actually a smoke gank. The reason for this is fairly simple, and I'll show it right now. So if we pop a smoke right here, and we know Tinker's right here, you can see how quickly I can go to Tinker before it actually, right about here, before it actually breaks the smoke. Now why is this important? Well, because a lot of the time when an opponent is playing against a Pudge, they usually, if you go missing as a Pudge, they'll start playing significantly different because they're under the suspicion that you might be going there. Well, what a smoke actually allows you to do is get a very good angle on someone and actually get like a hook that they don't expect at all. So for an example, if I'm missing from a lane, it wouldn't be on call to think that Tinker might stand something like here, so he's protected here, but that's where he doesn't expect I'm coming from here. And just like this, we can hook right there, and he won't see it coming. There's no way he reacts to that. There's just no way. Unless he saw me smoke, there is simply no way in hell he can actually like conceivably, you know, avoid that. Furthermore, once you have a level 2 in hook, I'll show you right here if I can get a hold of Tinker, Fog of War and whatnot, you can see that you can actually outrange here, and there you go. There's no way he can see you there. If it's level 1, you'll just on the verge break smoke, but without it you'll be just fine. So as you can see again, it's perfect. And it almost always lands a guaranteed hook, and you can do this on almost anyone, position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, with this strategy, you should bear in mind that if it's something like Wind Ranger or a Queen of Pain, that they can get away from you, but I guarantee you it's really good value early, and especially in games where I find it hard to gank, or I want to get one pesky hero in particular, one smoke usually equals one kill, especially if I manage to like completely blindside them and come from an angle like up here with a smoke that they just don't expect, and then come down here and just land a hook. It's very, very good, and yeah, try doing it in your pups and you should have some good success with it. Alright, so another basic thing I want to show off, because not everyone understands this, is that one of the things Pudge has at his disposal is his rod. Rod is his magic damage that pairs very well when he hooks someone and then proceeds to rod them for extra damage. This also comes very handy when you ult and then you combine it with rod, because you can toggle rod on and off while you're ulting. Well, a downside with this is that the way Dismember works is that it can linger. So what can happen is that you can dismember Tinker from such a, or not Tinker, just any hero from such a distance that rot will not work, and it will look a little something like this. Notice how when I apply rot, it does not apply to Tinker. That is especially important because it means that while you're dismembering, it's pointless for you to rot, because you'll basically only be doing damage to yourself. And sometimes when you play Pudge, you will find yourself in situations where you grab someone right on the edge like this, and just don't rot, because you're not going to do any damage to the target. It sucks, and one of the best chances, like one of the best things you can do is like grab them close range so you can actually get the rot off and it'll do damage to Tinker, but it just doesn't always happen. Especially against super quick characters that like speed past you and you actually manage to grab them, it's very common that you will actually not grab them into the rot range. Furthermore, it's also very standard to build lens on Pudge, so that only increases your dismember range even further, which makes it even less likely that you actually get within the rot range. So consider this as a bit of an announcement, but grabbing people when you're close to melee range is really, really good. One thing you can do if you're curious about the exact range at which rot applies, you can sit and test it for yourself. Like, see here, it should apply, and it does. And we're actually quite a bit of distance away. But if you're all the way over here, and you grab Tinker, you can see, that's actually going to be close. We do like this. He has to be running meanwhile. There we go. You can see this is not actually going to work. So yeah, it's really important that you stand up close if you want to get rot damage off on your Dismember. So yeah, bear that in mind if you want extra damage for your Dismember combo. Last but not least, I want to show off another trick that you might know, but you might also not know, so it's worth showing, I feel. I call this the hook channel. So some abilities, much like as I've displayed here, Witch Doctor and Enigma, will have channeled abilities, Black Hole and the Death Ward from Witch Doctor. These ultimates are not cancelled by getting hooked, so it will look something like this, and you can actually make pretty sick plays together with your allies if you pulled off correctly. So we'll have Enigma ult here, and we'll hook Enigma to safety. This way, Enigma will keep the ultimate going. Anyone that keeps going into it will keep doing that, will like get it locked down, and will have Enigma in a safe spot. This can be particularly amazing in the early stages if you actually pull it off correctly, and you can actually win complete team fights, because oftentimes early in the game, these kind of ultimates are exposed to getting stunned or somehow disabled, and if you hook them like that, that just doesn't work. It also works with a hero like Crystal Maiden as well, for an example. So if we quickly move Enigma over here, I'm going to show you that it works exactly the same way. So imagine that Witch Doctor has potential to do a lot of damage, but there's a Bane on the enemy side, and there's a good chance that he's going to be doing a lot of damage to poor, or not a lot of damage, but he's going to lock down poor Witch Doctor as soon as he puts up his Death Ward. But instead, it's going to look something like this. And we keep him here, and we're just going to let him channel the entire thing, and look at the beautiful damage done to Tinker. He's actually just going to die. So yeah, that is a very interesting combo. You can combo it with different heroes that have different channeling abilities. So look for it. There's a lot of good potential there. Besides from that, that was the Pudge video. I just wanted to show off a few tips and tricks that I use when I play Pudge. There's a lot to the hero, and he's very versatile, and he's considered pretty good right now. So yeah, look into him. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you saw, you can follow the channel here on YouTube. Also, check me out on Twitch if you have time for it. Good luck in your games, boys and girls, and stay fresh, stay happy, and do your best.